I'm Kirsten Hyde.
I'm Jackson Thomas. So we're rolling, huh?
We are. Tell me who you are.
Yeah, I'm Jackson Thomas. I'm the...
This is going well.
I'm Jackson Thomas. I'm the artistic director and founder of KC VITAs.
Wow. And when... I understand now, that this takes work. People always say their first episode of a podcast is pretty weird.
Well, here we are.
Here we are.
Welcome.
You're welcome. Oh boy. I'm Kirsten Hyde, and I have been in the ensemble since its inception in 2015?
2015.
And I've been on the board since then. And then, so tell me a little bit about this upcoming concert and what can I expect as a viewer?
Yeah, so we're going to be putting together Gavin Bryars' The 5th Century. So it's a piece for choir and saxophone quartet. So it's a large work with 7 movements, and it will be one long chunk of music, if you will. And so when you come, we will actually have Dr. Dorothy Glick, who's a musicologist in the area, and she's going to speak about the work to start out. And then we'll perform this work that has barely been performed since its inception because it is quite hard. And over the past few years, we've tried to present a large work, which is something that a lot of organizations aren't able to sink their teeth into. And so we're really lucky in that regard to bring those things to life. And so we've brought many different ensembles in to work with KC VITAs, depending upon what's needed for the work. So I'm excited to work with the Kansas City Sax Quartet, which was actually created just for this event.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I don't think I knew that.
Well, now you know.
That's really cool.
If you don't know, now you know. I know that the work has been performed, or it was premiered by Prism Ensemble, because this piece was written for The Crossing, and then recorded by The Crossing. But they're a great professional choir in the country, and students of Prism are in the Kansas City Sax Quartet, and they've been involved with bringing this work to life, at least a couple of them.
That's really cool.
In a second performance, I believe. I believe we're the third to have performed this work.
Okay, cool.
Well, Gavin Bryars is a British composer, and I actually didn't know him before sinking my teeth into this work or being introduced to this piece. So we were actually approached by one of our board members, Kyle Jones, who's also in the Kansas City Sax Quartet, about collaborating to bring this work to life. And so I actually didn't know Gavin Bryars until the beginning of this project. One thing to say is that the text is an incredibly deeply spiritual text. And we will actually invite the audience members to follow along so that they can actually hear how this text is being set to music. And Thomas Taharn is a Renaissance poet. And so these fragments come from a larger body of text. So we will actually ask for the audience to follow along with us so they can hear things out of the texture.
Very cool. So how do you invite the audience members to follow along? Do you give people programs, or how does that work?
Yeah, we will have a paper program, but we are trying to keep costs low, especially, and make sure that we're spending our funds on the actual music. But we will have a QR code to all of the text that's online, and so you will actually be able to go directly to our online program that has program notes and translations, not translations because the work is in English, but you'll be able to see the whole text that way. This is not a very typical combination of having saxophone quartet, classical saxophone quartet, instead of, we think of saxophones as jazz predominantly, but this is a classical saxophone quartet, and that is very often not a regular combination with choir. And so sonically, this is a really interesting combination that does not get to be heard very often. I'm also a sax player, so
there's that.
Yeah, I definitely was drawn to this work very easily because of that.
Okay. how did you prepare for conducting this work?
Well, the texture of this piece at times is quite thick, and harmonically it is extremely adventurous. So the way that I have approached this group, because there are some times where each voice part, soprano, alto, tenor, bass, splits into 4 parts individually. And so we have a ton of staves that are kind of stacked on top of each other. And with this relative wall of sound that happens within each of the movements, we hear fragments of this really beautiful text by Thomas Tahern. And so it's been a journey to kind of sit with the text and then also to see which portion of the text is being iterated by each voice. And so that's been kind of the roadmap that I've been following and that I've been working with the singers to also follow, so that they can sing the sentence, not just their fragments of words, that they have context and pass the importance back to each other, back and forth to each other.
Yeah. What do your scores look like? Do you highlight them a lot?
Yeah, my scores are incredibly colorful. So, I, like many conductors, have a system of different colors mean different musical aspects that I have just used consistently. So it's easier for me to look up at singers and also write back down and be right back in my place, or highlights the important part of a score that has a ton of things going on, like I said, and being able to go directly to that point. In this piece, there's a lot of connecting the dots because the text is passed back and forth so many times. Mm-hmm. So I have cues written in my score, and literally arrows at some points just pointing to the next one, and it looks like, I don't know, it's a stock whatever it is. What is that line? You know what I mean? Like the stock market, like the jagged line that shows the progression of stocks. Mm-hmm. I don't know, maybe it's a dumb way. Like a really jagged mountain range.
Great. I really want to look at your scores sometime.
You can.
So when you say you have a system, do you employ this same system for all of your ensembles? So like sopranos are yellow and altos are blue and etc.?
So I use the same colors for musical aspects. So I use the same colors for any dynamic mezzo forte or over, or anything to do with crescendos. Same, I have a color for mezzo piano and under dynamically. I have a color for cues. I have a different color for tempo markings, a different way that, I would notate different things musically in the score, but not necessarily for the voices. But I do use the same system no matter if I'm in front of an orchestra, just an orchestra, or just a choir. I will use the same system.
Cool. Do you ever cuss at yourself in your scores? I do that.
Do you?
Absolutely. If I've missed something a couple times, my love notes to myself are a little less lovey.
Yeah, I definitely, I feel like I say that a lot, like write yourself a love letter in rehearsal. And yeah, absolutely. I will definitely write myself a couple notes or be extremely pedantic about, what I need to do in a certain, fermata or transition or something like that. And sometimes it's a pep talk and sometimes it's more of a
strongly worded.
Yeah. Don't forget this time.
With expletives.
Yeah.
Oh, yep, I get that. Cool. So, when and where is the concert, and where can people buy tickets?
Yeah, so the concert is at Country Club United Methodist Church in Brookside, or Waldo. It's like right on the edge of both. Mm-hmm. And the concerts are August 4th at 7 p.m. and August 6th, Sunday, at 3 p.m. And you can get tickets at our website at KC VITAS, kcvitas.org, and you'll see a link to buy your tickets, and would definitely recommend doing that early because they are cheaper.
Okay.
You can still get tickets at the door, of course, but yeah.
Okay. And if I wanted to become a donor, perhaps leading up to the concerts or during, how could I make that happen?
Yeah, well, if you go online to our website, You can read a little bit more about our mission. We brought over 75 world premieres to Kansas City audiences since 2015. We're now in our 9th season. And so you can kind of read about our history and what we believe in. And there's also a place where you can donate electronically at that or on the website. You can also come to the concert and donate in a different way. We also have some merch so that you can take VITAS out into your life, and I kind of hope that doesn't go in there. But there's a multitude of ways that you can give a tax-deductible donation, and this one big thing that's happened this year is that we have started paying all of our singers, so every single one of our singers is paid. And that's a massive step forward for us and for any ensemble. And so we would love your help to be able to continue raising the bar for our music making, for our ensemble, and also just being able to continue our mission in the future.
Sure, absolutely. Will there be any opportunity for audience members to meet and mingle with performers?
Yes, so after all of our concerts, we get a complimentary reception. So we'll have refreshments, and we will actually have cookies from McLean's Bakery, and you'll be able to speak with all of the performers and be able to mingle together as well after the concert.
Cool. So how long has VITAS been in existence?
Our first season was technically in 2015. We restructured a little bit, so if you do the math, it doesn't quite level out. But this is technically our 9th season. And so we're gearing up for our 10th season. We started with just one concert a year and then have slowly continued adding concerts throughout the year, more concerts throughout the year.
Okay. So 10, that's a big milestone. What do you all have planned for your 10th year?
Yeah, so we have a lot of things planned and are continuing to plan. This will be absolutely our biggest season. We're collaborating with different organizations in town to do concerts that have truly never been done before, or anything like this has not been done before. I can't reveal that yet. We're actually going to have a kickoff event early next year, and so we're going to invite actually anybody that donates over this past year or over the last 10 years to a kickoff event where we will announce our entire season at the location that we will give our first concerts. In addition to that, we are planning to record our first real album, which is a big deal for us, and will feature not only new music that we've never done before, but also looking a little bit into the gems of our past.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
All right.
Follow us on social media and follow our newsletter so you can be in touch and hear the new things that we come out with.
Okay, I'll be sure to do that.
Will you?
Yes. Stay tuned for our next podcast.
Yes, stay tuned.
We're getting better at this. I promise. Have you been doing this long? Or you knew?
Yeah. Do you know how to conduct?
Where did they get you from?
Oh my God.
The street? Okay.